It breaks my heart to make this video, but behind me is an unrealized, unfinished dream, literally growing up with weeds around it. This is our 30 by 48 pole barn, which was eventually going to be our dream workshop that my wife Molly and I started this past year. And in today's video, I am going to explain to you guys what happened with this project, why we haven't done anything else on it, and if we have any future plans going forward. The goal of today's video is not to be some sappy, feel bad for us sort of video. Today's video is actually just going to be a good old-fashioned update, as well as sharing with you guys real life what it's actually like working on all these projects and what can happen, unfortunately, sometimes. Let's do a recap so you have some context behind today's video. Behind me, the location of this shop, first of all, had a ton of trees on it when we got started. We ended up having to rent an excavator, clear this entire area, fill back in those holes, get rid of all of those trees, which we're using in a cabin build series right now, as well as grade out the area and get it prepped for this building. Originally, we didn't want this shop right here. We actually wanted it someplace else, but the zoning department wanted us to put it here. That ended up delaying the project, adding more cost to it, and then ultimately made it take way longer to get started on the project, which is foreshadowing into what happened with this project in the first place. Now, unfortunately, because we had to take all those trees out, we had a whole bunch of holes in and around where our foundation for the shop was going to be. So we filled those in, packed them in really well, and then we just sat there and wait for like 3 months before we started back on the project, because I wanted to make sure that the ground had a ton of rainfall on it and made sure that everything was nice and settled and compacted before we got started. Speaking of a ton of rainfall, guys, we had a major flood event here recently, and our bridge worked out perfectly. All the water got around our house and we had no issues. So good update on this project, actually. We ended up deciding to build the entire barn kit that we got from Backwoods Buildings ourselves, which was a fun and interesting project. And with the help of Pops and a man lift that I got at an auction for super cheap, we managed to put in all the posts, get all the trusses lifted up into place, and get the entire roof system done completely by ourselves, which was awesome. It saved us a ton of money and ended up being a great project and a ton of fun to work on with my dad. But like all things with projects, that took extra time and it added about another month delay to this project. Now I know what you're thinking, is this whole video really just because you had a kid and that delayed the project? The answer to that question is no. It was absolutely one of the reasons for the project being delayed, but it's not the main reason why we ended up stopping working on this project. And no, it wasn't because the zoning department shut us down or because we failed inspections or anything like that. In fact, this right here, update for you guys, is the pass or the approval of our final inspection of this pole barn. And you might be thinking, final inspection? What the heck do you mean? Thought you had a lot more to do. Well, this is it. This is the entire workshop that was underneath our original permit. We only got a permit to do this part of the workshop because we knew pretty much all along that we had one major issue that was going to prevent us from finishing this workshop. All right, it's time for the real. What the heck happened? The truth is that I decided to take a big risk and risk most of the money that we had saved up for the rest of this building on starting Proven Hands, which I know sounds kind of crazy considering that is our dream, and starting a new business is, it is challenging. It is rough. It is not a money-making adventure. If you think you're getting into starting a business and you're going to make money, it usually takes quite a while. And that's been the case with Proven Hands. Some of you will think that that is a crazy thing to risk, that it's dumb to basically trade this dream for one that has a ton of uncertainty, and you're not wrong. But I really believe in what Proven Hands is doing and the future and what it could be. You know, this dream, it can always exist. This can be something that we do later in life or hopefully in the near future. But right now, guys, I am chasing a bigger dream for us. This is something that we started kind of in the midst of all of this, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. And Molly and I had a decision to make. We either needed to cut costs elsewhere and chase this Proven Hands dream of ours, or we could pour our money into this. And it was a difficult and challenging position to be in because we kind of need both. We want to do Proven Hands, but Proven Hands also needs a workshop, because right now we're in our garage and in 2 of our guest bedrooms, meaning we have no guest bedrooms. We're just using all the rooms of our house to operate this. And we're basically putting a big bet on ourselves that Proven Hands will hopefully one day be able to pay for this dream. Oh, good. I was just about to tell them the good news, Bubba. You gonna help us? No, you not gonna help us?
Say yeah.
Owen's first word has been hey recently, so let's see if we can get it. Owen, hey.
He's not gonna do it with that right in front of him.
You wanna hold it and say it? Hey.
Oh, to the mouth. No. We tried. Well, we do have some good news. Dylan has a plan. Well, half of a plan. Actually, half of a building.
Yeah. Pops and I were actually talking the other night, and we formulated a plan of how we can keep working on this project, make progress on it, and get a workshop out of the whole thing too. It's just not going to be what we originally planned, which is the entire shop. But the great thing about a pole barn is that there are bays of area, and the whole thing's fine, you know, standing on its own. So we don't have to close the whole thing in. So here is the new game plan. Now this building is a 30 by 48 foot building, and if we split it right in half, we would end up with a 30 foot by 24 foot, which is actually bigger than any shop that we've ever had, which is awesome on its own. But the best part about doing that is that it cuts the price of installing or finishing the rest of this building basically in half, making it a lot more manageable for us and feasible to get done in the near future. I've been working on this rendering for quite a while now to give you guys an idea of what this might look like. And as you can see, we're also going to have basically a big carport on the front of the shop, which will be really nice. But the cool thing about this pole barn is that in the future, when we can afford to expand the shop and do the rest of it, we absolutely still can. We can always close in the rest, but for now, we will be able to actually move forward with the project and get something usable, which is going to be great. To be honest though, guys, we still don't have like enough money to completely finish this project tomorrow. We're just going to be getting started doing what we can with cash, because that's what's important. Just continue moving towards our goals and into the future.
With all that being said, if you would like to help support this project, it would mean the world to us if you could share Proven Hands with your friends or family, or even checking out our website to grab a shirt or a belt yourself so that we can continue to grow this little business.
And feed this little fat boy here.
He's getting there.
Hope some of you can feel my pain right now, but I just filmed for an hour with my mic off, so I'm having to redo this. But in the spirit of giving you guys updates on projects, let's take a look at the cabin, but most importantly, this dry poured concrete slab that was so controversial on the channel. Let's see how it's doing after a few months. If I'm being completely honest about this whole dry pour concrete situation, which if you haven't seen the video already, you should absolutely go watch it. I am not a fan of dry pouring concrete. However, I have to admit that the results are really quite good and a lot better than I expected them to be. I had one small spot chip, and that was because we hit it with a ladder before it cured, and the rest fully cured. It seems plenty good enough for most applications like sidewalks and little porches and stuff like we used it for. So yeah, I guess I'll give it a thumbs up after all. I mean, it worked out. Now I have really good news and updates for the cabin. First of all, if you've been following along with this build, you know I had an issue with mildew, and that is gone, folks. I don't have the mildew issue anymore since we've gotten this thing closed in a bit more weather sealed, and we've let it air out. We're looking good there. We just need to finish filling in around the sides now with some more lumber, and then surprise, we're actually going to be doing metal siding on this cabin. We have so many things around our house that are really high maintenance, and I don't want something else that's high maintenance. So we're gonna try out metal siding. It's the first time I've ever done that, and see how it goes. I know many of you would have preferred to have a full-on build video this weekend. I would have too, but I want to thank you so much for your patience and understanding. We are trying to get back ahead of the ball, and that's proven more difficult than we imagined, but we're gonna do it. We're determined. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button because you're not going to miss the future workshop build or finishing up this cabin. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.